Joshua, of course, he's playing Runick Bystial, so that's quite some nice synergy there. Pretty important, he's playing against Infernoble, so it was very good for him to win the dice roll.
Oh yeah. Pakawat again, back with the Infernoble deck. He had very recent success with it. He made top 4 at the last American YCS with it, and he's back with the deck. Both of them have a draw so far, still undefeated in the tournament. And it's Joshua starting, and of course in the Runick Bystial deck you're also playing a small, you cannot even really call it branded engine, right? Because branded always is kind of connected to fusion summoning, but it's just the Guiding Quem, the Virtuous, and also the Bystial Aluber, which again is a Bystial card, so the Bystial Runick deck is kind of fitting. But there we send the Blazing Cartesia to the graveyard first of all.
Yeah, it's really weird to see these cards being used in such a unique way, because obviously we always see these with the branded deck. You can fusion summon with the Blazing Cartesia, but Josh, he's not doing that at all. He just wants to use it as a tuner, which it's weird that it even is a tuner to see it, you know.
Yeah.
I suppose most players wouldn't even know, like.
Ooh,
Yeah, it is a tuner for Lulu Walilith.
Exactly.
And only that purpose.
Indeed, and that is not even the card we are running in our extra deck there. And now we have Hugin onto the field, being summoned off of the Flashing Fire. Hugin, of course, using its effect. And I think we also triggered the effect of Guiding Quem the Witches right away. Oh, but there's Effect Veiler for the Hugin, and that's huge! That's very strong, because it will most likely deny access to the Runick Fountain, which Joshua desperately needs to play with his Runick spells on the opponent's turn.
That true.
You know, Joshua, he does love these grindy decks, and the Bystial cards have access to one of the grindiest cards in the format as well, in the shape of Branded Regain.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Pack may be able to stop him from adding the Runick Fountain, but will he also be able to stop the Branded Regain from making an appearance?
That's true, and that's another really cool new card, the Tri-Edge Master. Originally, usually, you would play Stardust Charge Warrior as a level 6 synchro, but this is just Stardust Charge Warrior with a little add-on. It's actually just a little bit better because it has bonus effects next to the drawing effect.
And this is a card you went absolutely crazy about when you read it the first time. I thought, okay, this is a little bit better than Stardust Charge Warrior, but you just went mayhem.
Yeah, this card is insane, and I still believe it is. And I mean, Joshua Schmidt, the one and only, is playing it, so of course it has to be crazy.
But this card can't attack all monsters your opponent controls once each.
You're right.
So I'm a bit, you know,
Yeah,
not there for me.
Okay, so that looks like a Synchro 10.
Baron.
Indeed, Baron de Fleur coming to the field. But still, there was no access to the Runick Fountain. But there we go for the Bystial Magnawood, which we could search off of the Lubellion, and Lubellion will stay in the graveyard there, being available to summon out itself.
It is really good that there is an Effect Veiler in the graveyard of Pakawat, because you would like to use most of your monsters that you have in your graveyard yourself. Now we're going to activate Magnamode, go to Lubellion to tribute it, and get the Branded Regained out, one of the best cards in the game.
Yeah, this is really, really strong stuff. Joshua putting himself into position to also play on the opponent's turn, to have interaction ready. We are probably going to search Druid Swarm, most likely, I would say. Oh, and Cartesia, of course, also going to trigger in the end phase, adding itself back to the hand.
Yeah, it's so fun seeing these cards used in a different way, because normally they're just glued to the fusion branded archetype.
Yes. It's a unique creation that Joshua is piloting this weekend. It definitely is a bold call bringing this deck, because it's nowhere on the radar, honestly. Runick in general has been kind of slapped on lately, so maybe Joshua is the one bringing it back into center attention here this weekend.
I'm wondering, a bit of a weird thing to do, but maybe you could special summon that Baldrake in the end phase and draw a card now.
Just to trigger the regain.
You can't, because this is not a quick effect right now.
Okay, I'm glad you're
correct. Totally correct. Okay, and Pakawat wastes no time, immediately starting off with Heritage of the Chalice, trying to search for one of his Infernoble cards.
I would have also liked a Bystial Baldrake in the end phase, not only because of Branded Regain, but also because you're not playing directly into Triple Tactics Thrust, and you want this on the field because I think the banishing effect is not really that strong right now, but you can put up a negate for a summon.
Yeah, for sure. But to be fair, Triple Tactics Thrust is not really a popular card in those Infernoble Knight strategies.
Yeah. Well, Talon is, though.
Yeah, Talon is, for sure. So, oh, and of course, this is one thing that Pakawat is known for. He basically plays every single card in his deck in the highest rarity possible. I'm confused that Effect Veiler is only ultra rare there, to be honest, but that museum is beautiful.
I think this is quarter century.
Okay, you might be right, yeah. In this angle, it only looks like ultra rare.
Now you need to trust him.
Oh, but immediately Joshua's responding with the Runick Distraction, and that's so good to immediately get rid of this card. Banishing 4 now as well, of course. There we go. Fireflint Lady is a one-off that is gone there, which might turn out to be a problem later on.
Yeah, this might actually be good for Joshua if he really needs this one more extender that can be special summoned next to a warrior. We have seen this come up earlier on stream, but we're going for the normal summon of Ricardetto now.
Yep. All the Infernoble Knight players we have seen today had to normal summon Ricardetto because we are in Italy, of course. So the Infernoble Knight with the most Italian name has to be used every single game you're playing this deck.
I have had problems with the pronunciation because there is an I in there, and I never know where, but it is Ricardetto.
Ooh, we also have the Phoenix Blade. Maybe not the card we necessarily wanted there. Just equipping it to the Ricardetto.
On some really good 800 attack points now.
And look at that. We are using Gearfried in hand now, banishing the Phoenix Blade, which is really not what you want, to be honest, because you want that Phoenix Blade in the graveyard and not it being banished.
Is it possible to pick it up with Renaud or Magius?
Oh, we negated that with the Baron. That's followed by Triple Tactic Talons. And Joshua has to look for his graveyard there. Does he respond to this or not?
Oh, does he try to search to take something? Yes, we are taking the Baron de Fleur. I think that there might be an Ash Blossom in the hand of Joshua. This would have been an Ash if there was a draw 2 in that effect for Pakawat, but he decides to take the Baron de Fleur. Is able to destroy the Branded Regained, I think. I know.
Yeah, for sure.
It can link off, but what can he link off? Oh, this is a warrior as well!
You were very excited when you realized that.
Baron de Fleur, just another warrior monster that can lead into Isolde. And now, I think Joshua was originally trying to play around the... Ooh, there comes the Baldrake first of all, though. Understandable, so we can at least draw a card. But Joshua was originally trying to play around Talons by not using the effect of Regain to get back the Magnamut and then use the effect of Magnamut. But now it's too late to actually get back Magnamut, so that might turn out to be a problem in the long run there.
What happened to the...
The Regain was probably popped with Baron, and then Baron attacked over the Baldrake.
Oh, maybe that was the battle phase, yeah. Okay, that would make sense.
Must be.
He just kind of pointed to it. And I was like, why?
They both decided and confirmed that it is going to the graveyard.
But now that is also very exciting as well. We have seen some combo tutorials by our stream already, but now we are just going to see the pure, you only have 2 warrior monsters combo. What can Infernoble Knight put out without a Fireflint Lady and with just Isolde effect?
A big downside here is that sword is banished already, not in the deck, able to be sent to the graveyard. You can put it back into the deck with Magias, but unfortunately then it will be in the deck and not in your graveyard.
Okay, we do search out Connector, but didn't we normal summon the Ricardetto?
Yeah, you search it out, but you can't use it anyways. If you search it with Isolde, with the first effect, you cannot use the card that you searched.
Yeah, fair enough, true. Okay, but I mean, usually still you might want to go for like Renault or something that you can still just summon out.
Oh, the Ash Blossom, I completely forgot about that.
True.
And this is looking okay now for Joshua Schmidt, because he has 2 cards in hand, which is fair enough. But there is only a Lobelion on the field. I don't think that he is running the Bystial trap card.
He's actually running a second Branded Regain.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, that is good then.
Honestly, yesterday but there's Typhon! Another new addition from Age of Overlords. We've been seeing it a couple of times already throughout the weekend. And now here again, of course, in the most beautiful version of it. And Superstar Slayer Typhon Sky Crisis being summoned. And the continuous effect of the card, of course, is applying here now. So all the monsters with less attack than Typhon will not be able to activate their effects there.
It's more attack.
More attack. Yeah. Oh, my
bad.
bad.
Significantly worse in this situation.
In this matchup for sure, yeah.
Also, you can activate the effect to bounce back the Lubalion, which I don't think is what you want to do.
You don't want to do that, no.
Nope. It's already back over to Joshua. It's Josh's turn. What can he do here? He definitely does not have a battle phase because we used the Runick cards. But there's another Lubalion anyway, so we didn't even need it.
Should have bounced it, I told you.
Yep. Indeed. Okay, so another Bystial is being added to his hand. So is it time for Druid's Worm now? No, it's Sauron here again. Okay, fair enough.
I mean, yeah, Saronir, again, a lot of these cards have kind of bonus effects which you don't really think about when you're playing the usual either the branded deck or the Bystial deck, but maybe together there's some Bystial card that he particularly wants in his graveyard.
Yeah. Or maybe he just wants to thin out the deck. Maybe he wants to get into the Runick engine a little bit more. I know that he also has we know that he has the Blazing Cartesia, right?
Yeah.
So he can possibly go for a level 10 Synchro. Bystial Baldrake would be really good. Can just attack over the Typhon, right?
Okay, there comes okay, we already had
Mystery
Druid Swarm.
solved.
Fair enough. Druid Swarm is there. And another Lubellion is coming, and now Pakawat will realize that there is a second copy.
Hear me out. 38 Harbinger.
Nope, I don't think there are any Exceed monsters in his extra deck. Oh, there is, but it's Super Star Slayer Typhon. That's the only one he's running.
He doesn't want to use 2 monsters to make an XYZ.
Nope. He has better plans with it. And now Pakawat sees that there's a second branded regained, and I want to follow up on that. Yesterday, I remember Joshua, right before the end of submission for deck lists, he was thinking and asking himself, do I really want to side deck Branded Beast? Is it worth side decking this card? Because he didn't find space for it in the main deck, and then ultimately he decided it's not worth it. I have already enough of a good matchup versus back row, so Branded Beast is not needed in my deck.
I'm interested. I mean, it looks like he waited to summon the second Lubellion before using the regain, but can you not just use the first one to activate the regain? Your deck?
Yep.
He could have done that indeed.
Possible. Also,
okay.
I want to say something. He put the, I think the name is
Triage Master, yeah.
Triage Master. He put it on top of his extra deck, right? And not under it.
Oh no, what a mistake. Rookie mistake by the world champion himself. No, I mean, when it's going back into the extra deck, it doesn't matter, of course. But that is going to be another Synchro Tan. So we went through Baron, so that's not an option anymore. But maybe Dispater, Chaos Angel, what does he like here?
I mean,
oh no, Chaos Angel is a 12, right?
Oh no, it's not.
Oh no, it's a 10, yeah. Dispater it is, though.
I don't see why you wouldn't run multiple Barons in this deck, honestly. It sounds like this is actually a deck that could play multiple copies of this.
Possibly, yeah. Okay, so we do get the Effect Veiler.
Are we doing a Lick Summon now, or are we doing some really cool... Okay,
yep, SP Little Knight coming down here, using the Effect Veiler of Pakawat and also his own copy of Lubellion.
Were you hoping for a rank 9?
I was hoping for Shen Shen, Virtual World Kiwi Shen Shen.
Oh, and that means Pakawat is picking up his cards, and Joshua Schmidt wins game number 1 here between these two legends of the game. And
is he?
In just a second.
It seemed like it.
Calm down, Sebastian.
He already was picking up his cards.
Calm down, okay?
He was just having a little look.
Yeah. It really looked like he was trying to shuffle them back into the deck, but not just yet. Joshua still has to make this happen.
Alright, so Joshua is still also with 1 set card, and it is Freezing Curses, which is going to stop the Neospatial Connector, but Puck also knows there is no way my opponent is going to OTK me next turn, because there is no battle phase available for him, so you can just wait it out and maybe find your way into a combo then.
This is such a cool synergy between Regained and the Runick cards, because we just banished a Nibiru from our opponent, we made him put it back to the bottom of the deck, and then we can draw a card through our own Regain, so that was huge value off of that 1 Runick card. And then Little Knight is being activated, banishing the Connector.
Now we have... This is Ogia, right? No, it's absolutely not!
Nope, this is Oliver.
Okay, I think
now, Basti, it's your turn!
Okay, I was a little early, but let's be honest, it's only a minute later, so this is game number 1 for Joshua Schmidt here in round number 7. Whew! Runick Bystial it is, apparently, huh?
That was super cool. Yeah, I love decks that kind of just outgrind the opponent like that, and taking the 2 like most grindy value-based engines that we currently have in the meta and then putting them together is a thing of beauty.
Yeah. I'm not sold on the Runick engine yet. We have only seen the Bystial so far, and that was already enough for me. I was missing a little bit of seal pass action, some Bystial control right there, but I think that the Runick spell cards that were in the game that were just disruptive, not gaining any value, they were good enough, right?
Yeah,
Next
absolutely.
to Baron, the Destruction was in perfect position to counter the Museum, which was really important because actually Pakawat was missing this Equip spell card in the graveyard. Somehow the Gearfried had to activate, I mean, it doesn't hurt you to activate it, but had to activate the Phoenix Blade and then banish that, and that's not really what you want to do. Quite the creative way to play it out. Props there, but really hurt the grind game, didn't really work out in the end, huh?
you know what I think? I think we
Enlighten
saw another card that's better at destroying spells and traps than Cosmic Cyclone.
Ooh.
I mean, Cosmic Cyclone doesn't destroy. So.
But they both banish cards as well at the end of the day. But yeah, let's have a look at the side deck. Pakawat, of course, playing an insanely good going first strategy. Is he bringing in more cards to go first? And there's a really interesting technology in his side deck. A card we haven't seen in a while. I think Salamangreat was the last deck where you kind of was... Oh wait, you were running the Fire Gizmek and Salamangreat, but now it's Gizmek Uka, the Festive Fox, who's being run in the side deck of Pakawat. And it's mainly there to summon out a fire monster though, the barrier statue of the Inferno. So that must be an option going first, right? Because would you side with in going second? I don't believe so.
Well, you have to wait until your opponent summons a fire monster, so I think it's specifically against decks. I think it's specifically against Unchained, actually, because it summons a fire monster, but it doesn't exclusively summon fire monsters, so the Inferno will really hurt you there.
Yeah, totally. Honestly, I wouldn't feel good playing Unchained this weekend. There's so many Bystials running around. Not only a Bystial deck here with Joshua Schmidt, but like everyone apparently is on Bystials, so it seems like a rough time playing Unchained. Still, 12% of the field are piloting it, and that's joined first with Rescue Ace.
I mean, it is still a really powerful deck, and Bystials don't really end your combo. They are disrupting you a little bit. They are annoying to play against as the Unchained player. However, it is not a complete deal breaker for you. But as you guys can see, Pakawat and Joshua are both ready. So let's go into game 2.
All right, two of the best Yu-Gi-Oh players we have currently on the planet battling it out here for another game of Yu-Gi-Oh. Let's get it going for Pak as well.
Pak is about to start, still taking his time and going immediately into the beautiful museum, taking a look at all the artifacts there.
Yeah, and we saw that Joshua wasn't really relying on hand interactions in his main deck, but he's bringing in a couple of cards from his side deck. Mainly, of course, Drone and Lockbird would be one that is really, really good for his Infernoble, of course. After that first surge of Pakawat, there's nothing happening, though, so I would assume Joshua did not draw that Drone and Lockbird.
Oh, and there was a Red Layer, a card that we haven't seen in a long time. This was around in Goki and, of course, also in its own archetype.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of does the same thing as it did in the Goki deck, which is get an extra warrior monster on the field, make it that much easier to go into an Azul.
It's really interesting and funny because after his recent success of getting top 4 at the American YCS, he afterwards talked about his deck, and he was saying this was the best card he played.
But he only ran one.
Yeah, he did. But he was like, this is just a good out to certain scenarios because it doesn't activate or anything. You could just special summon it out, and then mostly against SP, it's a really good answer because you can just summon it out, attack over the SP, and then play in main phase 2. So that's usually his approach because he's running quite a few hand interactions. So a lot of the time his opponent is being stopped early and has to end on some kind of SP field, and then you just go for a red layer, attack over the SP, play in main phase 2. Well, let's see. He uses it to start his combo off, of course. Link 2. What is it going to be? Any guesses?
SP Little Knight.
Okay, it is Isolde. What a surprise. There she is, using its first effect. And of course, it's also quickly after going to use the second effect as well. Again, adding the connector. Okay, do we really need to shuffle or do we just go for the second effect as well?
Yeah, I think in a situation like this, always makes sense to just wait until the end of the turn.
Yeah. And look at that, paying cost for the second effect of Isolde 2. How many equipped spells are we going to send to the graveyard here?
Is there a chance that he is going to send 3 and summon out Neospatian Aqua Dolphin?
I mean, he just searched it with the Isolde 2, right?
Oh, yeah, he just searched connector, so that would leave the connector a bit stranded.
Yeah. It's true. 1, 2. And again, we saw that in the first Infernoble deck of the day as well. He is running the Angelic Ring, recent addition to the deck. And yep, it is 1, 2, 3, but why not just summon out the Aqua Dolphin itself? You don't even need the connector if you can just summon out Aqua Dolphin.
Called it. Also, you can still use the connector to summon it back from the graveyard in the next turn.
Oh, that's cool.
Absolutely. Okay, let's have a look together into the hand of Joshua Schmidt. Double Nibiru, which we cannot destroy here even. And therefore, Pakawat is going to take 500 points of damage. And he has the information. He gets the memo. There is a Nibiru waiting for him there.
Yeah, well, not just another one.
And another one as well, yeah.
What were the spell cards on the side of Joshua? This looks like a Runick game to me.
Yep, at least one Runick spell I could see there.
I also saw a copy of Duality.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's running that card too.
That's
but
not Pot of Duality, just in case
nope.
you're wondering.
That wouldn't really match with the rest of the deck, to be honest. But it is just Duality. Also, quite recently released. Has been a little bit longer than like all the Sinful Sports stuff, but still recent this year. Was mainly played in branded decks. That was like its only application. But now we have another deck where it found its home once again.
I would really like to see it because there are probably some cool cards that you can special summon, right?
Yeah, of course, they are.
It's definitely a card that makes you want to build a deck with it.
Yeah.
And you say, okay, what can I do? What can I include to make the best use of this card?
Especially with the Runick cards, you have the ability to, with every card in your deck, basically special summon out a monster that is level 2, 4, or 9 even.
Yeah. Oh, he drew the Phoenix Blade again. Game number 1 and game number 2. Look at the smile of Pak. He knows that's not what you want. That's the classic card to send to Isolde, but both times he had it in his hand already.
How many cards is he playing?
That's a good question, honestly. It's a long list, but it's probably kind of close to 40.
Can you please count it for me? No, you don't have to. Of course, I'm just trying to be annoying.
Okay, so now Joshua, of course, has to consider whether he wants to already go for the Nibiru, because otherwise Appaloosa, of course, is an option for Pakawat here.
Yeah, there's some good mind games, because you kind of know the Nibiru is there, but Pakawat can just kind of play around with it. That Josh knows that he knows that it's there, and you have to think like...
Oh, but Josh wastes no time immediately going for the Nibiru, and now the question becomes, how well can Pakawat still continue after this Nibiru?
I mean, I saw 2 cards in his hand, and those were Ash Blossom and Infinite Impermanence.
Okay.
And those aren't Extender, even though Ash Blossom is a fire attribute.
And the Connector, obviously.
Oh, right. Okay, so I guess that is turn end there.
Yeah, seems
Probably.
like it. Sounds like it. But I mean, still, it's decent interruption for Josh's turn then still, so maybe it's not done yet for Pak.
An interruption on a possible Duality, because I think Duality can also special summon out from the deck if you want to.
Oh, no, wait, it's from the hand, I think. It's extra deck or hand. Let me double check, though, with Duality,
Yeah, it can summon from the extra deck as well.
Yeah, but the question is deck a possibility?
Oh, yeah,
hand
deck.
or extra deck?
It's
Wow.
hand or extra deck, yeah. Yeah, you cannot actually even Ash Duality, that's true.
Do you think that he's running a level 10 Dark Rock?
I don't believe so. No, I don't think we can do anything with the Nibiru there.
Is there one?
That's a good question.
Quiz question for you.
Quiz question for next time. Okay, it's over to Joshua. That card sitting there for Pakawat most likely is the Impermanence. Oh, we have one of the regains in our opening hand here for Joshua.
That is not a B card that you necessarily want to see. Also because you can't use the freezing curses to banish cards from the opposing deck, but you can go for a Hugin right here and of course discard the Nibiru. And I think that this smells like an Impermanence right here, because you actually really want to stop your opponent from getting into this engine and
I think it kind of
He
depends.
knows the Duality is there, right?
Yeah,
So you
was
can't
there
activate
another Runick spell in the hand of Joshua? Because if there was, I agree. We absolutely have to.
Yeah,
we just changed the Duality to this bow, and therefore the Impermanence is going to resolve without effect.
Oh, that is a really
And
good
that
point,
stare down from Joshua is crucial. He's really giving Pak the vibe that he's just going to take this one down here, and he has no fear whatsoever.
What can you special summon here?
We saw it in the extra deck beginning. I think it's called Alavain, the Essence of Vanity.
Yep, it is indeed Alvain, the Essence of Vanity, which is
Oh,
just
right.
a level 2 tuner.
But
How could you
it
miss
is a
that
level
one?
2 tuner. That is actually kind of
And
insane.
also a fairy, of course, yeah.
It's very possible that Pakawat just didn't know this card existed.
Yeah.
That is indeed possible.
It seems like it's included specifically for this purpose in Josh's deck, but I don't know, like I'd never seen this card before, so it's probably not the kind of card you'd see unless you'd hunted for it already.
There it is. Level 2 tuner has been acquired. Joshua with a smile on his face. Pak cannot really believe what just happened, but Runick Fountain has found its way into the hand of Joshua Schmidt.
I love this so much, especially because it is a tuner. This is a synchro-heavy deck, but it's not that synchro-heavy that you don't have space in the extra deck for Alvain, the Essence of Vanity.
Yep.
This is insanity.
This is a very important card in every extra deck. I think every extra deck should have one. It looks so cool.
That is indeed true. but we are going to see.
And also, let's not forget that Duality has another effect in the graveyard, actually. So, Duality says you can banish this card from your graveyard and then target one light and one dark monster in your graveyard, shuffle both into the deck, and then you can just draw a card. Kind of similar to Chaos Space, and definitely great to acquire additional resources. Maybe just draw into another Runick card. Oh, Runick Destruction as well. He's taking apart the field here completely. No light or dark monster was banished, so Branded Regain is not going to have a way to trigger there right away, but still that's good. Ooh.
That is also really important because the Noble Arms Museum would be good follow-up in the next turn, would be still able to use another equip spell, but the Ash Blossom on the Runick Fountain for draw 2 is tough right
Yeah,
here.
it was really crucial that Joshua did not banish a light or dark there, because if he would have done that, he could have chain blocked the Runick Fountain, but like that, it didn't work.
Now we have the SP Little Knight right here, and now there is a question: do you want to immediately banish the token, or do you want to use SP Little Knight to banish both of them? And then you have to put it back into your extra deck. I don't think that this is a good idea.
Oh, and look, even Pakawat has to double read the Duality. We are going to recycle the Hugin and the Alvain, and we are just going to draw one card. Let's see what it is.
Keep in mind, you can't use the special summon effect of any of the Runick cards now if you draw one, because the SP Little Knight is blocking the extra monster zone.
That is true, but you still have Runick Fountain on the field. Of course, they have multiple effects, and it goes back to Pak. What can he do here? Is there a way for him to come back?
We have the SP Little Knight, and then we have Branded Regained. I don't think that there's a Bystial monster in the graveyard of Joshua Schmidt, but SP Little Knight is now going to stare down.
Do you know what's super cool is the connector.
Oh,
is a light
we
monster.
picked up another copy of Museum there. That's so huge for Pakawat. The first one was destroyed with the destruction, but there's another one.
Yeah, so if you normal summon connector, gets banished by SP, it gets put back by Branded Regained.
And you don't even have to worry about the special summon of Connector, because the Neo-Spacian Aqua Dolphin is already banished, and I don't think that Pakawat is playing multiple copies of this.
No, definitely not.
Oh, the Ash Blossom immediately on the Noble Arms Museum. This is looking good for Pakawat. Do you even normal summon the Connector? What could this do for you?
Yeah, when did the Aqua Dolphin get banished?
Way earlier. I think for the
Phoenix Blade?
Probably to add back the Phoenix Blade, yeah, indeed. And the thing is, on the summon of Connector, we can of course not do anything, because Little Knight has to be chained to something else, to another effect or card activation, and therefore, are they just going to clarify how many? Oh, we're double checking maybe. Oh, is Alvain even an effect monster? Maybe that's what they're currently. Alvain is not an effect monster. Does SP Little Knight lead effect monsters? Okay, yeah, the judges just picked up on something. Indeed, you cannot even summon SP Little Knight with Alvain, because Alvain was really cool in this situation, but it's not an effect monster. So let's bring it over to us. Let's talk about it a little bit here, because we will definitely have to rewind that situation. We didn't even think about it. Alvain completely blew our minds, and we didn't even think about it not being an effect monster.
I mean, the thing is that you rarely summon out extra deck monsters that aren't effect monsters. The only one I can think of that is an obvious one is Tenny, the monk.
Yeah, true. Indeed.
Yeah, that's a really niche situation. I mean, I guess it's useful to know, and something you'd probably learn once when you tried to do it and someone said, look, you can't make SP with that Nibiru token or something, because it's not an effect monster.
Yeah, it's very
But other
obvious.
than that, like I didn't know that until you just mentioned it now. So
yeah, I was just seeing the judge coming to the table and pointing towards the SP Little Knight, and I was like, there's only one reason that could be the case, and that must be because Alvain is not even an effect monster. It was so clutch in that situation. How could it not be an effect monster, right? But it really isn't. It's a tuner, it's a fusion, but it's not an effect monster. There's nothing. I mean, the effect text basically says 2 normal monsters. That's all it says.
I really hope that this situation can be resolved, because this is a very exciting game. We are already... There's still a lot of hope for Pakawat in this game if it just continues like this, because there was an Ash Blossom used on the Noble Arms Museum to stop him. Joshua himself doesn't really have enough, or doesn't have a lot of follow-up. We are going right back into the game right here. And I think,
good, yeah.
Have we just... We have pulled it back, so we are still in the turn of Joshua, who has 2 monsters on the field.
That was like the swiftest reconstruction of a game I've ever seen.
I mean, it wasn't that much. We were lucky that no Runick cards were activated, so we didn't banish anything in between, so that was good. And we found our way back into the situation. I'm pretty sure Joshua just got a warning for that, for not correctly summoning out the SP Little Knight. He didn't have any warnings for that before, so we can just continue with that. And we reconstructed the correct game state there. And it's going back to Pakawat, but without the SP Little Knight. And that's a huge difference there. That makes it a lot easier for Pak to go through this.
Yeah. We're going to immediately pack up the game right here because that one token on the side of Pakawat is immensely powerful. Has a lot of attack points probably as well. Can deal a lot of damage maybe.
Yeah, without the SP Little Knight, there's nothing to stop. And nothing to stop the turn of Pakawat. And he knows his cards in hand because he already played them out there. And we know that would have been game very, very quickly with the token especially. And therefore, easy peasy, 1-1. Those two really battling it out here, and we are going to go into another and third game. And honestly, I'm very happy for that because I want to see another game of these two.
Do we think that Ash Blossom maybe was the draw for Duality? Because I was thinking like he just had that one piece of interaction, but if that was the card drawn off Duality,
but
then...
Wait, he couldn't use Duality?
No, he couldn't because the Elvane was the only light monster he had there, or the only dark monster rather. True.
Right.
So he did not only miss the SP, he also missed the draw. Oh yeah, that was crucial that he couldn't summon that SP for real. Yeah. But now, let's look into it. So you were saying the Gizmek Uka and Barrier Stature package probably not coming in versus the Bystial Synchro deck?
No, I don't think it will.
Okay, fair enough. Good assumption. I agree. And then we are siding Bystials ourselves with Pakawat. Do we side in Bystials just to counter the Bystials of Joshua? Probably, right?
I do think that this is genuinely a really good idea because you can take so much momentum out of your opponent's turn if you just banish the same card that they try to banish with their Bystial and you delay a Magnamut for one turn. Also, this is not only about back in the day when we had a lot of Telement mirrors. This was sometimes not the best play because you wanted to keep it for the names. Keep it for the really valuable cards in the graveyard. But this time, the Bystials are very important to Joshua's combo. So if you delay them by one turn, you might as well just stop the entire combo by just not letting them summon the Bystial.
Just taking out Rebellion also just seems really good, right? Because we saw Brandon Regained as a super powerful card. So just denying the access to that seems really good. And one more thing that I was thinking about, you can kind of counter Duality with that as well, because I think Duality is just targeting those two in the graveyard, and then when you just take one of them out, you're denying the extra draw, so that's kind of nice too. So there are plenty of options, and I think those Bystials definitely are going to come in, and there's another form of Bystials in the side deck additionally to that, because there's also triple DD Crow in there. And there's many ways to interact with graveyard effects here, because there's Ghost Spell and Haunted Mansion in there too. This card overall has been becoming a little bit more popular this weekend. I saw it at the top tables. Multiple players were holding Ghost Spells in their hands, so I think this may be on the rise again.
All of this works really well against like the Runick Fountain as well. It's like he almost exclusively built his side deck against Runick.
I was just going to say, it can be a bit of a trap sometimes, though. We're getting really excited about all of his side deck cards, but if you're going first with a deck like Infernoble, you want to make sure that your deck is doing its thing as consistently as possible. So you maybe side out some of your non-engine cards that are not so good.
Problem is he's not going first. He will be going second here. Because Josh is going to open things up here.
You make a good point.
Yeah.
Talking about opening things up, we are ready for Game 3, so let's go right in there.
Here we are for a third time. 1-1 is the score. Joshua Schmidt, Pakawat Pamonsut. One more time. Please give us a great game here.
All right, and we are immediately opening with Quem. I don't know if that is exactly what he wants.
I mean, it's a level 4 tuner. Not too bad.
Yeah, I think this is exactly what he wants. I think Quem plus a Runick spell is exactly what he... This is giving me quite a lot of deja vu from the first game. There was a Quem and an Effect Veiler.
Get Veilered.
Although last time he waited for the Runick spell and to negate a Hugin, but this time he'd prefer to.
Oh, but there's Lubalion. That's strong. And look, Pak eyeballing that Ash Blossom. Is he going to react to it?
Oh, and I think the monster that he has in his hand is Neospatian Aqua Dolphin.
It looks
exactly
like it.
The ultimate rare. This is how I found out. He is going to Ash the Lubalion, actually. Is there another Bystial in the hand? No, we are going for the Runick Slumber, I think.
Yes, Runick Slumber is going to be used to special summon out the Hugin. And that's already so much, right? Because you are just going to get the Runick Fountain, but also you now have the potential for a Synchro 6 to go into Tri-Edge Master, draw another card. So I think we're well underway here for Joshua Schmidt in this game number 3.
Do we think because he's just discarded a Runick that he's got a third one in his hand?
I think so.
I mean, that's just devastating if that resolves.
I'm pretty sure that is the case. Runick Fountain, there it is. And there comes the Tri-Edge Master. I'm assuming it is. Yeah. Oh, it's Coral Dragon this time. Okay. And there, of course, is the third Runick spell. It is going to be Flashing Fire. And yeah, we are going into Coral Dragon because Coral Dragon then, together with the Gary we just summoned out, can go into a Synchro 10 again. But before going into a Synchro 10, we are just going to draw 3 cards here for Runick Fountain. That's so good.
And he's also going to draw one for the Baron de Fleur Synchro Summon. So this is 4 draws. Imagine using Valor and Ash onto your opponent's combo and then just going for a Baron plus draw 4?
Yep. Joshua Schmidt has become a world champion in Master Duel with his Runick cards, and he's doing really well with those Runick cards again here today.
Just find one Bystial now and then completely go off, banish that Valor. No, we are not going to find one of those Bystials. That would have been absolutely insane to also have a regained in there. But now Pak with 4 cards in hand against the world, drawing another effect Valor, which is really not ideal.
Something that I really think is sometimes really good against Runick decks is just passing it back over to them, because you know they don't have a battle phase. It's not scary, so maybe just draw another card in your next draw phase, have more resources to play through it, but Pak is starting to play here.
We're going to see Wanted.
Yep, Wanted Seeker of Sinful Spoils is activated, and Joshua was considering to interact with that, but he decided against it.
I mean, he knows that there's triple tactic talents in the deck of Pakawat. We have seen that in game 1.
Do you think he'd be using this in the draw phase or the main phase?
Depends. If he would have had, if he would have talents, and Joshua knows there's talents, as Leonard was just saying, I think it's nice to kind of scare your opponent, and therefore you just go into the main phase, make them think you have talents, so you kind of play another mind game there.
Also, you almost want to get rolled against Runick, right? I don't think that Runick decks are playing draw necessarily.
Okay, so the Diabellstar Witch comes down here, discarding the effect Valor, which we picked up for turn.
So the bad draw of the effect Valor does not really matter. And now we are going to go for the Baron de Fleur, destroying the Diabellstar right here.
And now, what's next? Can Pak recover from that? Normal summoning the Aqua Dolphin.
Oh, there are still quite a few cards in the hand of Joshua Schmidt. He has 1 card left. He can't even use the Aqua Dolphin because there are not enough cards in his hand.
That's such a shiny card, I can't even make it out.
Same, to be honest. I think it's either Durendal or Almasi, but it should be Durendal, I think.
No, I think it's
Almasi.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah. This was Almasi, and Almasi gives you Durendal. There we go.
Durendal is a little bit more pointy.
True. It is indeed. So, Almasi into the Durendal, so we can search out another warrior monster, which is really good, but still Joshua is sitting there with Runick Fountain face up on the field. Oh, first of all though, we do go for the Typhon.
And I mean, we have seen Typhon plenty of times this tournament, but it always almost seemed like a last resort play. It never seemed like the play you really wanted to go for this turn, but it's more like trying to cut your losses.
Yep, okay, back to Josh it is, only having to deal with the Typhon. We go for another copy of Quem. This time it is of course going to resolve, as Pak has no other options to interact with Josh there anymore. And there's Lubalia now as well, so we are off and rolling here. This is looking nice for Joshua. There's Runick, the best cards in his deck basically, just after each other. Joshua Schmidt winning round number 7 here in the Battle of the Titans between Pakawat and himself. What a match we had there.
Just topping it off with the tip afterwards. I have seen so many duels already in my career as a commentator right here, where one player in a simple game state revealed Runick tip, and that was the handshake immediately. This is such a good card, just showing your opponent, hey, I'm going to definitely draw 3 cards again this turn.
Yeah, just the icing on the cake. Yeah. And when he activated that card, Pak was extending the handshake. He was like, okay, yeah, that's enough for sure.
Do you guys think this deck is reminiscent of the deck that Joshua took to the World Championships, that Naturia Runick deck?
100%. It's kind of the same thing, because with Naturia Runick, we were also doing that thing with Coral Dragon, Stardust Charge Warrior, going into Baron, kind of synchro climbing into synchro 10 monsters. I think it's very, very similar, but maybe even better if you ask me.
Even better?
maybe even better, at least at the moment, because Arturia Runick has been addressed on the Forbidden Unlimited list in the past, and therefore it's now not really playable in the form it has been playable in the past. So this is the new version of it, basically.
I think Branded Regained is just such a good card. The Bystials are well positioned, as we have already said. Many popular players have been picking those cards up again, like Lorenzo Muselli, who's been absolutely blasting through games with it with his Centurion deck.
True.
And I think the more aggressive approach of playing big dragons and this little, I don't want to say branded engine, but the Ecclesia-ish Fallen of Alba's engine. You're playing Quem and Cartesia. This also works really well and generates a lot of value.
Yeah, and one more fun fact. Do you know which person was responsible in the end to make the final call that he's going to play that deck? Because it was a late decision yesterday, and after talking to, of course, the other Runick master of the European landscape, after talking to Dinkabui, it was a final decision that we are going to play this Runick strategy. And I mean, Dinkabui played a similar deck at the World Championship, actually. He played Bystial Synchro there, and now Runick, now this version of the deck is finding its way to the TCG as well.
Yeah, it's really cool to see. Do you think this is maybe the new card Duality that's just been released is the thing that pushes this deck over the edge? Because I think all of these cards, other than the Duality specifically, have been around for a long time. This deck could have been played before, but we haven't seen it before.
Yeah, I do kind of agree. All of the other cards were around before, so maybe it really is Duality, indeed. So Duality was released, I think, in Battle of Legends, if I recall correctly. So it has also been a while already, but people have not really been picking up on it just yet. But now, of course, Joshua Schmidt has picked up on the card. But who better to ask than himself? Let's go over to the winner's interview with Ad and Joshua Schmidt.
Thank you, Basti. Yes, I am joined by our round 7 winner, Joshua Schmidt. Now, you're no stranger to these. In fact, we've seen you even at the World Championships. Does it feel good coming through these, still getting a feature match in the middle of a YCS?
No, it's very cool, especially against someone like Pak, who is actually, I met him for the first time this weekend.
Oh, really?
We've been talking forever, but like it's the first time I'm seeing him in person, and then like being paired up against him for the very first time, immediately, it was very, very cool.
Feels like an anime showdown. You get paired together in a feeture match the second you meet.
Yeah, we've been playing next to each other, like, or 2 tables next to each other, like the last couple rounds, so we kind of saw it coming. But yeah, it was really nice. Pak's really nice, and I was glad that we got the feature match, yeah.
It was really good fun to watch as well. Obviously, you're playing Bystial Runicks now. We've seen you use Runicks a bit. Why Bystial Runicks for this tournament?
I'm going to be honest with you. I think there's just a lot of viable decks right now, and I was a little bit like, you know, every deck has its weaknesses, and so I'm like, whatever deck I pick, I'm like, what if I play against that matchup? What if I play against this matchup? And so at the end of the day, I decided I'm just going to pick what I like. And I like Runick decks, and the Bystial Runick deck's kind of like a new thing. Does some really cool combos with the Cartesia and the Quem, and I just really, really enjoy it. I think it has good matchups in the format. Funnily enough, Infernoble, not one of them. If he would have won the dice roll, probably not be standing here right now. Like, that matchup is very, very bad if they get to go first. So yeah, that's kind of like the thing, right? Some matchups are going to be bad this format for you, so I picked the comfort deck that I like, pretty much.
I mean, it's a really diverse format at the moment, so that must have been quite hard, sort of having to come up with it. Did it take a while to sort of theory craft the perfect deck for such a format, or is there just no such thing when it's this diverse?
Well, there might be one, but I haven't found it. I don't think my deck is that. Like, I don't think it's the perfect choice for the format. It works for me. It's good. I like it. It has its good matchups, but it's not the perfect deck for the format. I don't know if that exists, because if that existed, we wouldn't be talking about a diverse format.
Maybe a tier 0.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
So let's have a quick talk about this. So, Game 1, you grinded to the win pretty much through the Runicks, and then Game 2, so I'm sure people at home spotted this, but it was the SP summon off the normal monster.
So that caught me really off guard, because I was like, wait, what could have gone wrong there? And because they interrupted us, and I was like, what happened? And then I realized, god damn, that thing does not have an effect. It really doesn't. It's been a while since I've not played a vanilla, and then I read SP Little Knight and said, oh, it's 2 effect monsters. That thing does in fact not have an effect. It's kind of, in my head, I was like, that's a fusion monster. They always have effects. Yeah, exactly. But no, they were exactly right, and yeah, that was 100% my bad. And well, can't do that anymore for like
forever.
Yeah.
Well, you repaired the game state, so that was good. But then I think you definitely had like a furrowed brow moment, and you just went, do you know what? Let's get into the next game.
Yeah, it was like from that point on, without being able to make the SP, I was going to lose that game anyways. So I was like, you know what, it was my mistake. Let's just move on to the next one. And I am very glad that they caught it, because I wouldn't have wanted to win that way, because I was winning the game with that SP, So I'm glad they caught it. I'm glad they caught it.
Then game 3, the Quem got Veilered, but actually that didn't stop you at all. You still managed to get around it, and you had good momentum, and then you ended up taking the win, you ended up scooping. So even though you said like Quem and things is quite important, so when that gets Veilered, how do you then mentally try and get around that sort of hurdle?
Well, that's exactly why I picked this deck specifically, is because a lot of people are playing hand traps to deal with like a lot of different decks, because like, you know, if you stop the deck from playing, it doesn't really matter what your opponent's playing. But Runick decks are like historically always been really good against hand traps, because it's like there's so many things you need to stop. You need to stop the tuners, you need to stop the Hugin to add the fountain, you need to stop the fountain draws, the Bystial Lubellion, which is the one that Pack decided to ash, which is also fine, because that leads to a lot of card advantage if it doesn't get ashed. So that's the one big thing about this deck. If you go first, if your hand is like average, your opponent's going to need more than just 2 hand traps. It was a little bit shaky because even after I drew 3 with the Runick fountain, I didn't draw a single Runick. So if his hand was like a little bit better, he maybe could have pushed through, because my end board was essentially, because I pretty much whiffed on the draws. I drew like a second Lubellion, a Duality, and a Quem. So like my board was pretty much just the Baron. Like for him it looked intimidating because I had so many cards in hand, but none of them did anything. So it was good that he wasn't able to pull through all of that. Yeah.
And then it came out with the win. So congratulations. You have now 6 wins, 1 draw. What was the draw against?
Also Infernoble.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Yeah, that was one that I did. It was like just a long, very grindy game, and then game 3 they actually did manage to stop me with hand traps because they drew more than 2. And then we got into a very grindy game 3 where they chose not to use any of the ones that pay life points. So they were very hindered in how they would do their turn, right? Because can't do much without, those are very powerful cards. But we were close to time, so they weren't able to use them. And so we kind of had this, like, you know, I don't have a battle phase. They don't want to pay life points for their cards. So we drew. It happens.
It does happen, but you know, 6 wins, still pretty good. Best of luck to you to all the rest of the games that you have tonight. We have 2 more rounds tonight, and then obviously the next 3 rounds of Swiss tomorrow. Before we get into that top cut, congratulations again on this victory. Guys, don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more coverage coming your way for these next 2 feature matches. But before that, we have a duelist profile of the Italian champion, Lorenzo Muselli, who we have already